it.
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Miss Rachel. I know we have some parents in the audience, but Miss Rachel is an extremely famous child entertainer. She mostly has been on YouTube, and now she's just landed a giant deal with Netflix. So I guess the parents aren't going to have to skip ads anymore unless they're on the ad tier of Netflix. This is interesting to me because it shows that the conservative boycott of Miss Rachel ultimately failed. It ultimately
Works
died on the vine.
sometimes, doesn't work all the time.
It worked in the case of Bud Light, for sure, but a lot of other examples didn't work at all, and now she is soaring to success. And if you're confused about why she was boycotted in the first place, it's because although most of Miss Rachel's content is, you know, teaching kids to read and express their emotions and coloring, some of it is sprinkled in there with social messaging.
So she had Dylan Mulvaney on, right?
She had a co-host who identified as non-binary who was not Dylan Mulvaney.
Okay. I thought
as far as I remember, there was a different co-host on her channel.
No, I know about that.
That went by they, them pronouns. That was part of the controversy as well. Her post back in 2024 about Pride Month really angered a lot of conservative parents who let their kids watch her content. And when she started getting backlash, she decided to clap back. And I want to show her video from that time period when she responded to the haters.
This one from Netflix?
From
or the Matt Walsh one?
I think Matt Walsh posted it at the time.
Here we go.
Happy Pride to all of our wonderful families and friends. This month and every month I celebrate you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're exactly who you are. To those who are going to comment they can't watch the show anymore because of the support, no worries and much love your way. God bless. I am not chasing fame or views. I'm standing strong in love.
Okay.
I know she's a kid's entertainer, so she has to put on a kind of voice.
The voice.
But the baby voice really creeps me out. This is a 42-year-old woman.
I mean, it's one of those things where if you were watching it on television, you wouldn't notice it because you'd be kind of conditioned into the content.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't seem weird.
Yeah,
right?
but she's a YouTuber, so it feels different. It feels like this is her, not a character. And she is so successful, she's been compared to Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Like the Mr. Rogers for Gen Alpha, basically, is who we're talking about. So she keeps most of her content educational and wholesome, but sprinkles things in like this to talk about pride and identity issues and gender with children who, you know, I'm assuming their parents aren't aware that this is part of the content.
Yeah.
So at the time, this was a huge controversy. She ended up taking a mental health break after the outrage back in 2023. And that was when her co-star, this non-binary co-host, Jules Hoffman, asked to be referred to with pronouns they and them on her show. Jules Hoffman identifies as transgender and non-binary, which is confusing because I thought that you were just defying the binary.
Yeah,
but
my brain doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
And then there were other controversies about her making subtle political statements by posting fundraisers for Gaza. But, you know, she's angered a significant portion of people who used to be in her audience and now is reaching new levels of success despite that.
Okay, so we got this video from Netflix.
Yeah, this was their announcement of her deal.
Figure out what our letter of the day is. Soon, you can also watch Miss Rachel on Netflix. More ways to watch. Let's figure out.
Okay.
The screenshots on that video are not going to treat her kindly. Yeah. So that was the Netflix logo, just the N, if you were listening rather than watching. But yeah, most of the comments were basically saying, if anyone deserves this bag, it's you, Rachel. Go, Rachel.
Yeah.
So she's winning. She's unequivocally winning in this battle.
I mean, this type of content is some of the biggest moneymakers for any of these streaming services. Whether it's this, whether it's Coco Melon, you know, there's a lot of money to be made in sticking the kids in front of the television and leaving them with something. So I'm not surprised that the boycott didn't work.
If you have the higher tier of Netflix, you don't even have to come into the room to skip the ads for your kids. Just sit them in front of the TV and forget.
Like, look, I don't know what the shopping market how the shopping market broke down gender-wise for Bud Light. But, this type of boycott based around gender ideology is not going to be as effective for women as it would be for men. And I'm sure it's the moms that are putting their kids in front of the TV to watch this content. So I'm not surprised that this one didn't work.
Yeah, it's mostly moms making the decisions about the entertainment that their kids are exposed to.
Yeah. And look, that's changing a little bit as time goes on. Certainly there's more of a backlash than I would have expected in the past now that people know that this stuff is going on. But not everything is an article in Breitbart, and it doesn't always work that way. A lot of parents aren't paying super close attention to this stuff, or they don't see, where it might be a problem for them, depending on who you are, depending on what you believe. But it doesn't really hurt Netflix really at all. And the crazy thing about this is, guys, is Netflix just posted their biggest subscriber growth per quarter ever at 19 million new subscribers between the last 2 quarters, and another price hike going on over there as everything bumps up. And the reason why that when they advertise this, when they talk about why, because, every time a price hike goes on, somebody has to come out, some poor employee has to come out and be like, this is why we're doing it. Mm-hmm. And the point and what they say is that we want to continue to reinvest into new content for you, the viewer. And to do that, to pay people like Miss Rachel, they have to raise the price on everything. And it looks like, look, your premium package just went from 22 to 24, or from 23 to 25. Your standard package from $15.49 to $18. Ad tier went from 7 to 8. No shock there. It's I posted about this yesterday on X, and it's crazy. So, if you're the type of person who's got kids and you don't want them watching content like Miss Rachel, that's not hard to believe with Netflix, given the fact that anytime I post about Netflix, and I do pretty regularly point out that Netflix is the king of the castle when it comes to the streaming services, they kind of really do leave all of these other streamers in the dust. And most of the time, the people that don't like Netflix, they give me, it's not usually the price that they mention, though that can happen. Mm-hmm. It's Cuties. They say after Cuties, I never went back and I never watched anything from Netflix again, which I completely understand.
Yeah. And I totally respect that decision. I myself don't have Netflix, but it's not because of any kind of moral stance. Mm-hmm. It's just because I don't think it's worth the money.
It's a lot of money.
I can't
It's the most expensive of all the streaming services by far, I think, other than maybe HBO Max.
It's also the most popular, but I just find it so hard to believe that there are people paying $25 a month for Netflix Premium. What does that give you?
That's amount of TVs that can be watched on Ultra 4K HD. I think I had the middle package when I had it. I think I had the middle package.
Because you hate ads.
Well, yeah, I'm not having the ad tier. Okay, actually, no. I have a rule when it comes to ads, which is if I've seen it before without ads, I will not go back and rewatch it with ads. If it's something I've never seen before, I will stomach it with ads.
Okay. That's
fair enough, because it's like you can't go back, right? There's a lot of shows where I'm like, I used to watch this show unencumbered. I can't tell you how I gained access to that show back in the day. But the point being that, you watched it without ads.
We're far away from the time in this country when you could pay, $7 a month for Netflix, not watch ads in like the tail end of the Obama administration and watch Stranger Things.
And to be fair, guys, the thing is Netflix doesn't want you buying the premium package. They want you getting the ad tier. They want to be able to dump a bunch of ads in front of you because that's the real revenue growth for them.
Yeah, they said, as we continue to invest in programming and deliver more value for our members, we occasionally ask our members to pay a little more so that we can reinvest to further improve Netflix. They have the perfect out.
It's a community service you're doing.
So you're going to be paying more so they can fund the insane budgets for their original shows.
Well, it's not just that. Now they've made their foray into live TV with the NFL. With now you have to, if you want to watch Monday Night Raw, you're going to have to watch it on Netflix. They had Paul Tyson and all that stuff. Did you see them at the inauguration together?
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that Logan Paul and Jake Paul were there. I didn't see that Mike Tyson was.
It might have been at like an event before the...
I saw this terrible...
But he was on, like, Jake Paul was on Mike Tyson's shoulders.
Really?
Yeah.
He was... Logan and Jake were sitting with Theo Vaughn at the inauguration ceremony, and they messed with his chair to make it break in the middle of the speech.
Yep.
That's just such childish
I mean, was that
behavior.
proven? Was that proven
Yes.
that they did that on purpose?
Theo Von said it. He told everyone, like,
I
not...
think it's a work.
He literally said, I'm not joking. They messed with my chair to make it break when I sat on it. It was, yeah, and he said it was childish and that he didn't appreciate it.
Well, to be fair, those guys, the Paul brothers and Theo Von, are all kind of listed as some of the big reasons that Trump got elected. So I suppose
Theo Von is getting a lot of hate right now too because of
his
showing up at the inauguration.
Really?
A lot of his fans perceive him as being very tolerant and liberal. So
well, he's kind of just a middle of the road. Like, he's so weird, it's hard to place him in a box anyways. I actually read his Instagram story posts. He did like Instagram story posts that were like a breakdown of how he felt about the event. And the first thing he listed was my thoughts on the inauguration. And the first thought was, we need more than 2 parties. And the dessert sucked, 0 out of 7. That's what he said.
I mean, yeah, he's relatively.
And he said that he
inoffensive.
walked back to his hotel with Lex Friedman, so that sucks to be him.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Doesn't that sound awful?
Yeah.
So
Lex Friedman could never make it on this past weekend.
I've never. Dingus Khan says Prime drinks suck. I've never had Prime. I've never actually drank Prime. I see it all the time.
You love energy drinks. You should
I
try
do.
it. Give us a review.
I drink the Ghost energy drinks every once in a while. I've never drank Prime, but yeah. Look, I never thought that boycott was going to hold, but most of the time, me and Mary are pretty anti-boycott, anyways. But that's.
Are we boycotting boycotts, or do we just think that they're usually stupid?
I mean, I
and
just don't
pointless?
care. I guess it's not a boycott. I just don't care. I just don't feel like. I guess they do work. There are examples of it working. The Bud Light one being the best example.
Vast majority of the time, though, they don't work.
Yeah.
Liberals don't have to boycott anything, really.
No.
Do they?
They have endless selection for stuff.
Right. So when conservatives boycott things,
people are boycotting Snoop Dogg right now. I'm sure that's killing a lot
right.
of people's playlists when
Totally
they
forgot
can't
about
listen to the Dogfather.
But like when conservatives boycott things, it feels like we all have such a short attention span that it doesn't last, it doesn't make an impact, and it was never a wholehearted response in the first place.
Maybe that's just our short attention spans.
I didn't stop shopping at Target. I'm gonna be real. Like after the tucking swimsuit scandal, I did not stop shopping at Target.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a bad person, but I just don't have the bandwidth.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.